Hi, this is Katya Turner, exclusively for basmati.com with a video series on natural pregnancy. So in this course, you have gotten to know me personally, you know my story of my amazing transformational pregnancy with my daughter Mia, and then my second pregnancy with my son Alexander. You know my labor experience, and I have told you all of the tips and tricks and tools that I have learned along the way that helped me make that experience of my labor and my pregnancy with my daughter such an amazing one, which propelled me to share it in the first place. So we've talked about the gratitude exercises. We have talked about the importance of having a vision. We have talked about creating and keeping healthy boundaries. We have talked about the importance of connecting with nature. We have talked about the importance of connecting with self and how that can help you tremendously in your pregnancy and in your life in general. We have also talked about the importance of your perception and how so many of these techniques and practices can help you keep your positive outlook on life and on what you are going through, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what life throws at you, whether you are experiencing a bunch of discomforts, whether you are broke or you are rich, it does not matter. All that matters is your perception of it, because it creates your life. And not only will it create your experience of your pregnancy, but also life at large. So everything that we have learned, I personally implement to this day. Every morning, I write down things I'm grateful for. Every morning and afternoon and evening, I meditate and I envision what is it that I want. Every day, I do my mindfulness practices. Every day, I do my little rituals, all of the things that literally enrich me, that feed my soul, to create a positive experience of life. Yeah. Now, after we have talked about all of that, I know that a lot of you cannot help but wonder what happens after you give birth. Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be easy? What's going to happen? And you never know, really. None of us really know what will happen. None of us will know if our children will have any medical issues or not. None of us will know if we are going to have any issues or not. We don't know what's going to happen with our jobs. We don't know any of those things, but all we can control is how we perceive it, right? And these little tips that I'm going to offer to you now can help you tremendously in making that first time, the initial couple of weeks with your child, a peaceful, memorable, important time in your life that you can look back at and smile. That you can look back and appreciate. So number one, I know your guys' scenario will differ based upon where you choose to give birth, whether you choose to give birth in the hospital, in the birthing center, at home, like what happens there is going to differ. But the first few hours are so important for you to just be with your baby, to get to know this little person that just came out of you. And just be in the moment, to look at them, at their features, at their little tiny fingers and tiny toes. It is so very important. This initial bonding time, not only is it important for the baby, because the baby just came out of this soft, warm cocoon into cold world, right? And all it wants is to cling back to you. So it is incredibly important for the baby to get that nurturing connection right away. But it is also very important for you, for the mama, to bond with your child and to slow down, to rest from everything that you have just been through, from what your body has been through, in order to get to know this person. It is so very important. So allow yourself to have those couple of hours. If you have a birthing plan and you're going to the hospital, talk to your doctor about this. Tell them that it is important to you to have that skin-to-skin contact, to have your uninterrupted time with your child in the very beginning. Because I know in hospitals, sometimes they will take the baby away and do a bunch of tests right away. In my case, whenever I was delivering at a hospital, thank God, even though it was kind of like an emergency situation in a way. So I didn't know the doctor. I didn't know any of the team that was in that hospital. But literally, after I gave birth to my child, they got him out, put him on me. We pretty much right away started breastfeeding. And then while I was kind of like looking at him and talking to him, everybody just kind of left. I was like, wow. And we were for like 3-4 hours on our own. They would keep coming in and checking up on us. But in general, we were to ourselves. And this is such a great experience of having your child with you and just a sweet bonding time. After I gave birth to Mia, I did it at home, right? First 5 minutes we were laying down and she was breastfeeding, and then our midwife made us like this herbal bath, which was a great idea. It was so cool. So me and my baby, we together took this herbal bath that's supposed to help you heal, and it's got very pleasant and very useful herbs in it. And so it was just a very special bonding time. And I think this is what both mama and baby are looking forward right after birth. So be mindful of that. If you can, plan it out and allow yourself to have that slowing down time to get to know your baby. Number 2, in the first hour after birth, you will probably try breastfeeding. And it varies per person. Some people want to breastfeed, some people don't want to breastfeed. Some people want to breastfeed but experience complications. If you experience complications, I do encourage you, like if you still want to breastfeed, don't give up on it. Babies do learn. They really do. With the first child, like with Mia, it was really easy for me because she latched right away and it was super, super easy. With Alexander, it was a little different. He also latched right away. Not as good, but he was the one, like he was a learner. And I could see this learning process. I wasn't already so like, oh my God, I have a baby, right? I was kind of observing him learn to do it the right way. And I observed him get frustrated. Babies get frustrated just like we do. And it's absolutely normal. But if your genuine desire is to keep breastfeeding, then keep trying. They can learn and they do learn. If you want to breastfeed but just nothing seems to be working out, don't beat yourself up. If you do everything you can do, that's all really you can do, is to give it your all, and that's it. And if your all is still not working out, then let it go. Maybe it's not meant to be that way. Or if you try to breastfeed and you understand that you don't like it, that you really don't want to do it. Again, no matter how much judgment there is out there, no matter how much your doctor will recite that breast is best, only you know what is right for you and your baby. Because in the end, a healthy, happy mom is gonna do way more benefit to your baby than what kind of food he or she eats. It's not going to do anybody any good, you constricting yourself into some sort of boundaries that somebody else has created for you of what is good and what is bad, versus following your own internal gut feeling of what do you feel like you need to do? What do you feel like is best for you too? Every mama and baby combination is completely different. My combination of me and Mia was completely different from me and my son. The same with you guys. You're going to differ from me. You're going to differ from everybody else. It is your unique connection. And this is why I kept telling you that it is so very important to learn to connect to self, to learn to connect to that gut feeling, to learn to connect to your own sense of direction. Because the more solid is your sense of direction, the more you learn to trust it, the more you tune out everybody else's truth. They're not wrong in having their truth, but their truth is right for them. And your truth is right for you. And my truth is right for me. And it's none of my business to impose my truth on you because it's not going to do you any good. So learn to seek out that internal direction and follow it blindfolded, because that is the only real truth that we carry. And feeling that sense of integrity in front of you with yourself is what's going to give you that peace. If you can stand in front of yourself in the mirror and feel good with yourself, like you have done right by you, This is what's going to help prevent postpartum depression. This is what's going to help prevent any depression really in life, is you doing right by you and you knowing that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing for you. So keep that in mind. If you want to try breastfeeding, try and persevere and try different techniques. But if you feel like it's not for you, don't force yourself into it and don't judge yourself no matter what. Just relax into it and let the nature do its thing, your own internal nature. Number 3, ask for help and be willing to receive it. This is huge. For me, this was a huge thing to learn because I was always this independent go-getter who thought that asking for help is a sign of weakness. And boy, my pregnancy and my labor number 1 have taught me the opposite. You need to have this internal strength to be able to ask for help. Because no matter what, you cannot do it all. You cannot do it all under the sun for yourself. And if you feel like you can, I invite you to examine what parts of you then are you constricting. Because we need to be able to have a break. We need to be able to have some time to nourish ourselves in the way that we are nourished. For some of us, it's reading a book, it's walking in the park, it's taking a bath, it's having alone time. It's huge. Having alone time is immensely important, even right after you gave birth. Especially whenever you're breastfeeding and in general, like in the beginning, your baby is always really on you. And sometimes you're going to need that alone time. You're going to need to recharge. So asking for help and be willing to receive that help that's being offered to you is a huge skill that I invite you to start thinking about right now while you're pregnant. If you still don't have a hold on it, it is really something you're going to want to develop because parenting is hard. I now, after having a second child, and now my first one is like 2.5 and my second one is almost 6 months old, I understand the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, because it does. You cannot do this on your own. You cannot do this just with your partner alone. You need help and support. And your willingness to receive that help and give up some of the control can go a long way in your habits of self-care, in your habits of self-love. And this is so incredibly important because that child you just gave birth to needs a healthy, happy parent first of all. Because if you're going to run yourself into the ground taking care of the child and your own health goes, what good did you do to anybody? None, right? We need to nourish ourselves before we nurture others. It is that concept of a full cup. Until our cup is full and overflowing, what we give others, we give at our expense. We take away from us to give. We need to fill ourselves up first before we can give. So asking for help and receiving and be willing to receive that help is huge in maintaining the self-love and self-care practice that is so very important. So number 4 flows right out of this one. Learn to take care of yourself first. This is a huge concept that I have learned just a little bit ago. Before, I could not understand it. It wouldn't fit in my mind. How is it if you have this child, you're supposed to give everything to that child? And in reality, if you give everything to the child, you're going to be running on empty. And when you're running on empty, you snap. You become irritable. You become angry and resentful. And you don't want that. You want to fill your own cup first. This is why whenever you're on an airplane, they say put your own oxygen mask on before you assist the child that's sitting right next to you. Because if you are not okay, you cannot properly help others. So I encourage you guys, before you give birth, to make a list for yourself of how is it that you can love on you. What are the activities that you can do that are going to help you in this act of self-care and self-love? Is it getting a manicure? Is it going for a walk? Is it having your alone meditation time? Is it having your writing, journaling time, specifically at these points of the day? Like for me right now, it is absolutely non-negotiable. The first hour of the day is mine. I wake up specifically early to have that time, because how I set my morning sets my day. What mindset I pick in the morning is going to control how my day goes. It is incredibly important to me. And so to me, that is my self-care non-negotiable. For every person, the cocktail of these self-care elements are going to be different. But while you are under so many layers of stress, whenever your baby is born, it's really hard to even start thinking about yourself and what is it that you can give to yourself. But if you prepare that list, the list of concrete little things that you can do for you that make you feel happy and enriched and at peace and revitalized, you're not gonna have an excuse whenever the child is born. You're gonna know where to go. You're gonna look at that list and you're like, okay, I can do this. I can at least try. And I can guarantee you guys, whenever you try it, you're gonna feel so much better. So learning to take care of yourself first is probably rule number one of motherhood and of parenthood in general, because we cannot be a good, happy parent if we are not nurtured ourselves. Number 5, a rule that probably everybody's talking about. So very important, nap when your baby naps. So I can tell you my experience with this, how I have learned it kind of the hard way, but I had to, because right after my first baby daughter was born, my husband, I was actually in labor, like all up until the 10 minutes of pushing, I was by myself. My husband was on the way back from Missouri to Arkansas to attend the birth, because he just left for this week-long filming event, right? They were filming a movie because they scheduled it because my daughter was supposed to be born like days before. And so, oh man. So he left and I was left at home by myself with a child. And I was terrified in ways like, what do I do with you? What happens to you when you sleep? Like, I was so scared of sleeping. So at first I was like, no, I am not going to sleep. But then whenever you run to the point of exhaustion, when you're like, I'm not sure if I can stand, you realize that in order for you to take care of that baby, you have to have some sleep. So I had to learn. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I had to learn to sleep when she slept and let go of all the fears and let go of the idea that I'm holding life together and because I don't sleep, I'm making this baby safe, right? I had to let go of that, like forcefully. Life has forced me to learn this little lesson. But really, sleep when your baby sleeps. If it's during the day, please sleep during the day when your baby sleeps, when she or he naps, because you don't know, at night they might have a thing, right? And be up and playing and looking around and crying and cluster feeding, whatnot. So nap when your baby naps. That is the time when you have to sleep. And if she sleeps 15 minutes can go a long way in those first few weeks. So take that time, no matter what. If you were in the middle of cleaning, cut that cleaning, go to sleep. Sleep when your baby sleeps. Number 6, keep practicing all of the tools that I gave you. Don't give them up just because you had a baby. It's gonna go a long way in helping you through those first few weeks. Use the gratitude exercise. Use the meditation exercise. Use your rituals. Create new rituals for you and your child. Let's say like a nice massage with candles after bath, right? With coconut oil or something. I mean, I remember whenever Mia was just born, we would create this. It also helped her sleep better. We would create this mixture of coconut oil and a couple of drops of lavender oil. And we would do these like massages after we would give her a bath. And she took a lot of baths in the beginning because she loved it. She wouldn't cry. She loved the water. And we would like fill up a tub and like hold up her head and she would swim and stuff. So create those something like special moments with your child that you can genuinely enjoy. So don't give them up. Journaling is huge. Please don't give up journaling whenever your baby is born. There's gonna be a lot of feelings to process when you become a mom, especially for the first time. There's a lot of feelings buried in this transition. And again, those feelings can be all stuck in here, and you might feel trapped in your head because your own like subconscious deep-seated programming about what it means to be a mom and what kind of mom do I need to be, it's all going to start coming to the surface. And it's so easy to get trapped in those subconscious bars, basically prison bars, while you can be processing all of that on paper. Even if you don't want to talk about it all with your partner, you can still get it out of yourself. Journaling is such a huge tool for that. I remember how I have come to learn this lesson, that you do not need to give up journaling, right? It was that first week with my child. And I think it was like day 5. And so I'm already pretty tired. And she has developed this pattern of, she sleeps the majority of the day. Like she would nap really good, like 3-hour naps, 4-hour naps, and then feed in between, and happy angel child. And then at night, when it hit like midnight, from midnight to 5 in the morning, she would cry and cry and cry nonstop. And I remember at some point, I set her down and I'm like, okay, I need to do something. So I opened up my journal document and I started typing. And I was typing like, I feel like I'm such a terrible mom. Like my baby's crying and I have no idea what to do. Like I am not fit to be a mom. Like all of these thoughts that keep coming in your head, let them all out. And then when I looked at that, as I was typing, I looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a bullshit. Of course I'm a good mom. I'm doing everything I can do. Like I know exactly what to do. But that had like that destructive thinking had to get out of my head. That poisonous thinking, it had to get out of me so that I can once again breathe normal and be able to take care of my child. There is going to be a lot of those feelings. So giving up journaling is not what you want to do after your child is born. Keep doing those practices. Keep visualizing what you want. If it's no longer labor, what's next? What do you want next? Do you want to envision your child's like growing up and playing with you and the relationship you want? Or is it something completely unrelated to a child? Because you're not just a mom. You also have a career, you have a job, you have passions and hobbies and relationships and stuff and your dreams and aspirations in life. You can go back to that and keep going back to being a person and integrating yourself being a mom with yourself being the person you used to be before that. It needs to become one, right? So that you can feel good within yourself. So keep doing those practices to keep your vibes high, to keep that thinking positive, to keep your perception of life a specific way so that you can create a great life for yourself and not like a life. Number 7. Share your concerns and fears and feelings with your partner. You guys will grow so much stronger together from this if you really open up. And by really open up, I mean that kind of open up that makes you ugly cry. Like the button you keep pushing within yourself when you talk and talk and talk with those thoughts, right, that arise, the feelings that arise that are creating them. Share them with your partner. You might be surprised how much closer you will grow together as a couple and as a parenting unit when you allow yourself to be vulnerable in front of your partner. And the last tip I want to share is do nothing together. There is an awesome expression in Italian language, and those of you guys who have read Eat, Pray, Love know it. They call it bel far niente. The sweetness of doing nothing. Do nothing together. Do your slumber parties in bed and just watch TV or listen to music or just coo together. Be a family together. Be just a mom and a child doing nothing, looking at each other, making googly eyes at each other and faces and sounds. Do nothing together. This is the time that you will cherish forever. This is the time that you will keep going back and remembering as some of the sweetest time in your life. So Make a conscious effort. Remember to do nothing. Remember to allow yourself to ditch the list and do nothing for a little bit, because it's going to relax you. It's going to nourish you, and it's going to create those amazing memories for your whole life. So I hope all of this has been helpful to you guys. I hope that me sharing my incredible transformational story with you was somewhat empowering, was inspiring for you to make changes in your life, the little tiny changes, the little tiny actions that can lift your whole experience of your pregnancy and your life after that to a whole another level. The little tiny habits that we pick up can make our pregnancy, can make our life, and then they can make our life as a parent. I hope it has been helpful. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments, and I will see you in the next videos.